Some members in Congress are trying to ban one of the most powerful groups in the country from buying and selling stocks. Themselves.
Members of Congress should not be playing the stock market while we're in office.
Shouldn't be padding their own pockets.
You don't own this stuff, you don't trade in this stuff, you're done.
A majority of voters want this too, and not like America's normal majority, where 51% of people think, sure, and 49 are so angry they black out. Poll after poll found that somewhere around 70% of Americans think members of Congress should not be allowed to trade stocks. A bipartisan group of representatives sent a letter asking House leadership to, quote, swiftly bring legislation for a ban to the floor. You know they mean business when they send a strongly worded email to their own manager begging them to please stop letting us make so much money. And it's kind of worked. Speaker Nancy Pelosi has now said she'll move to ban it.
Will it be sometime this year that you're expecting to sort of vote?
Well, yeah. I mean, I assume that they'll have it pretty soon. They're having meetings, I think, not as we speak, but in the course of now.
So soonish, in the course of now, maybe. Some members of both chambers of Congress have already introduced their own version of a ban. One would require lawmakers and their spouses to put stocks in a blind trust while in office. Another would extend that requirement to dependent children. Same with another bill that already has at least 45 co-sponsors. Pelosi's support means a lot, both as the Speaker of the House and as someone who reported around $12 million of stock transactions last year. But a ban still isn't a sure thing because not everyone wants it, like other members who are already making bank on the market. Around 40% of Congress owned individual stocks in 2020. And last year, 27 members reported personal trade totals of over $1 million. There's nothing wrong with trying to make extra cash on the side. Some people sell earrings online and others make $66 million worth of trades in a single year. The difference being the typical Etsy vendor can't manipulate the whole country's earring supply. And that's almost exactly what lawmakers can do. In 2020, at least 15 members of defense committees also happened to be invested in defense contractors. And when tech CEOs testified in Congress that their business models weren't just old-timey monopolies, 72 lawmakers own stock in Apple, 45 in Google, and 44 in Amazon. Then there are the 75 members who own stock in Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. Members who also were part of deciding to give those same companies $10 billion to make and distribute vaccines. It wasn't even technically illegal for lawmakers to use privileged information until the Stock Act passed in 2012. But since then, exactly 0 members of Congress have been charged. On average, lawmakers outperform the market. So either something else is going on, or we just happen to elect a group of the luckiest people in history. Like Oklahoma Representative Kevin Hern, who bought up to $100,000 in Lockheed Martin stocks. That was just 2 weeks before it was announced that the company won an almost $11 billion contract with the Air Force. Sure, maybe the man loves planes. Who doesn't? But Hern also serves on the House Budget Committee. And yeah, that sounds like convenient timing, but there's no way of knowing what led to his decision. Members of Congress have a super special constitutional protection. They can't be questioned about things they learned in their capacity as a lawmaker. So we can never actually prove what's insider intel and what's dumb luck. In February 2020, some senators got a confidential briefing on COVID, and right afterward, a few of them conveniently dumped hundreds of thousands of dollars of stocks before the pandemic market crash. They were investigated but never charged, leaving all of us without an answer to our question, are you kidding me? One of the things that's supposed to keep members of Congress from using privileged information is transparency. Lawmakers are required to disclose all personal stock activity, except a lot of them don't. Last year, at least 55 members of Congress either whoops, disclosed late, or double whoops, not at all. It's not just elected officials. At least 182 high-ranking congressional staffers also didn't properly disclose personal trades over the last 2 years. And when members don't disclose, nothing really happens. Well, actually, that's not true. They could be fined up to $200, which is a lot for a parking ticket. But some of these trades total over $1 million. So 200 is low enough to make you wonder, is that a typo? That's a typo, right? Members of Congress have already said pulling off a ban will be complicated. They'll have to consider what counts as trading, should spouses be included, and what about staffers? But for most voters, it's pretty simple. You were elected to address the issues, not make money off them.